All right. Hey, everybody. It's Dave from Flashdance DJ and Production Services. I hope you're doing well out there. It is about 11:30 at night. I've just gotten out of my part-time job, and the whole thing is I have a bonus for you today. Normally, there isn't too much bonus stuff going on. However, I've started making the decision that maybe on Tuesdays, maybe on Thursdays, there'll be bonus clip days. What I mean by that is if I go out and do an event and I have, like, say, full footage from a night, why not post it? You know, that way you can see how the night went, things like that. So this is the live footage from the Got Balls bands from last Saturday. Not this past Saturday, but the Saturday before, where we talked about the gig log yesterday. So in this is the House of Pain, Beastie Boys, Cypress Hill, and Limp Bizkit. So you're going to see that. It's about I'd say a 6.5 to 7 minute video of the show. You know, shooting from front of house perspective over to the stage on an angle. You know, you're not going to have the tail end of it, which was in the gig log of the teardown. That's the only part you're not going to see. But on the back side of it, after you watch it, we'll talk about the 4-bar a little bit, and we'll go from there.
This is Phase Ed Music.
everybody enjoyed that. So, as you saw, everything was great. And as you also saw with the 4-bar, to me, the 4-bar has more of a pin spot look than it does a wash look. Don't get me wrong, the 4-bar is a wash light, but it's not your traditional, you know, like if you're old enough and you think back to late 80s, early 90s, when we used to see par cans all over stages that was stupid hot, stupid bright, needed tons and tons of power to run them, you'd get a full wash. You could make, so you could have what we call electrics or trussing. You could have a few electrics, but you'd mix in, you would have like reds, purples, blues, greens, and you'd have them strategically placed so that way when you turned on that color on, you know, say, so the first electric would be all the way in the back or in the front, depending upon how your wording was. So you'd have first, second, third, fourth, sometimes fifth or sixth, depending upon the design of it. So now, depending upon also how you group the lights, let's say you had macro buttons on your lighting console, you could make a couple of different macro buttons where you hit one button, it was all the reds, meaning all the red pars and the entire lighting rig would go on at one time. You have no gels in them, or you have diffusion gels, you would hit another one that would light all those. Then you might have it broken down by 1, 2, 3, 4, however many pieces of truss you have that's loaded up, and you'd have those individually done. So you could jump them, is what I believe the term was, or that's what I always called it. So that's the kind of look to me that the 4-bars give. So I wanted to experiment because on June 28th is the Berkeley 250th, and I have Berkeley's own Freeze Pops. They're headlining it, and even though they're playing for 2 hours, they're playing from 7 to 9. This area, about 8:15, it starts to get dark. So they're gonna, even though we're gonna have lights on the ball field, the stage itself is gonna need some form of wash. So my plan that I came up with was like, you know what? Since my uplights or front washes are slowly dying, let's integrate other lights into this, see how we can make it work. I have some Blizzard lighting ToughStorms 252s. These are battens, which are rectangle lights. They have 252 LEDs inside of it. They're broken down in chambers of 1, 2, and 3. And then it's individually also broken down in master colors where you could turn on all the reds, all the blues, all the greens. And when you turn them on, obviously it makes white. Well, I said, all right, what if I hung one horizontally going across the T-bar, and what if I put one vertically? Okay, perfect. I did that this past Saturday for the Northern Fried guys at the Rathskeller, and it came out the way I was hoping it would. The thing that was wrong was that I didn't realize when I brought up the new profile and reprogrammed things a little bit that the second 4-bar was not programmed into the profile. No harm, no foul. Sure, the stage was a little unbalanced with back colors, but the show as a whole went off great. So, needless to say, at the end of the night when we're packing stuff up, one of the members of the band, who's one of the lead singers, turned around and said to me, "Hey, those strip lights you have, those things are amazing. They're incredibly bright." So I turned around and I asked him, and I said, "Are they blinding at all?" He goes, "No, not at all." In my head, the light went off. This is what I'm looking for. Perfect. This is going to work. So my idea for the Berkeley 250th, since I've only need 1 hour of light, is I'm going to take these T-bars. Now, here's the kicker of this whole plan. Now, these lights are, I believe, not exactly 48 inches, but they're close to it. The T-bars I have are bits and pieces of other lighting rigs that I've had over the years. I have the Hercules LS 700Bs, I think they are. These things go up 11.5 feet in the air, so that's pretty tall for the most part. That's about the height of ceiling from the ground. So that's gonna, you know, even with the stage, you know, that we're gonna have, which is an 18-wheeler flatbed, let's say that thing is 3 feet off the ground, 4 feet off the ground, and I crank these things all the way up to 11 feet. This is gonna be amazing shooting. Basically, so what it's gonna be is, on the top is gonna be 2 of the ToughStorms. They're gonna be shooting across. You know, I'm gonna basically have it so the flat end of the deck is gonna be like this. I'm gonna have it exactly on the ends, and I know that normally you'd want it in the front, but I'm gonna have it shooting across from the side. So I might try and put them in the front, I don't know, so that way they're crossing a little bit. But there's gonna be 2 on the top, there's gonna be 1 hanging horizontally, and then if I have enough room underneath, I'm gonna try and hang 4 of my uplights with different angles on them, pointing down onto the stage deck, so that way they can be more of, so like for example, the drums can be highlighted, stuff like that. And then in the back, I don't know if they're gonna be on the ground, on the stage, I don't know yet, because haven't seen the design. I'll have my 4 bars doing the down, you know, chasing and stuff like that across the back. Now, if there was a roof on the stage, I'd have my 4 plays and add beam effects, you know, while they're playing. But that's not probably gonna happen because it's gonna be open, no coverage on the stage. Anyway, so with that being said, that is the piece of the puzzle for the bonus clip. So with that being said, don't forget, I also want to say thank you to everybody who's been liking the content, watching the content, sharing the content. Don't forget, I can see analytics and I see what everybody's doing, and I appreciate it to everybody. You know, if you like this content, like I said, please make sure that you subscribe. Double check just in case, you know, you don't get a notification, but yet you see a new video and your feed pops up. You know, make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. I thank you for that. And also, you know, don't forget to learn one thing every day. And on top of that, treat others the way you want to be treated. And with that, I'll see you tomorrow on Wednesday for a Tech Tip Wednesday about staying hydrated during events, whether it be during the winter, during the summer, whatever it might be. I'll give you a bunch of tips on that I do. And then another one is also treat others the way you want to be treated. So with that, I will see you tomorrow for Tech Tip Wednesdays. We're going to talk about ShowXpress, and we're going to talk about staying hydrated. See you then.